What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Blue Jays Today. We are getting so close to spring training, so close to actual Toronto Blue Jays baseball, and I figured it's time to start taking a look at that lineup. What does it look like? Where are people batting? How does it stack up against some of those other American League East teams? And just overall, what am I predicting for opening day? Before we get into it, please make sure to hit that like, smash the subscribe button. Let me know your thoughts about all this in the comments down below, because I know that people just love to, debate about, well, could this guy be 5th, 6th, whatever. I want to hear it. Tell me where I went wrong in this prediction. First things first, let's start off by taking a look over at Fangraphs, everybody. This is what they have right here. They got George Springer leading off, Guerrero in there, Santander batting 3, Bo Bichette batting 4. Now, one thing I want to note, they don't have Dalton Varsho in their prediction right now. For the sake of argument, I wanted to include him. I know that he might be injured on actual opening day, but I just figure, there is a good chance that he could also be healthy, and ultimately it's like Varsho's the key piece to this team, and I don't want to make a whole lineup prediction without including him in it, because he is obviously very important. So with that being said, let's kick things off by starting with the leadoff spot, and I'm going to disagree with Fangraphs immediately, because I think Bo Bichette is going to be leading off for your Toronto Blue Jays on opening day. I know he didn't play great last year. He was injured. The mental might not have been all there for Bo Bichette, but I still believe in him, man. This is somebody that was right up there for the league lead in hits in 2021, in 2022, and in 2023 had 175 hits with a batting average of 306. We are talking about a very good baseball player, and I do believe that he is going to bounce back. Ultimately, it just comes down to the fact that I want the best players on the Toronto Blue Jays to get the most at-bats. In my opinion, when he is on, Bo Bichette is one of the best baseball players on the Toronto Blue Jays, and therefore, I want him setting the table, especially considering he'd be setting the table for Vladimir Guerrero Jr., going to be batting right behind him, batting second. I like this for Vladdy. I mean, it's same argument as it is for Bo Bichette. I want the best players to have the most at-bats. If we're in the 9th inning and it all matters, right? And, the top of the order is coming up again, I want Vladdy to be there. I want to have him get his shot at a 5th at-bat and, potentially play to run and, win us the game or what have you, right? You're talking about somebody who had a 940 OPS last year. Across the board, Guerrero is phenomenal. I mean, the batting average of 323, so if Bichette does get on, he could bat him in, or at the very least move him over for somebody else who could potentially bat him in, or Vladdy could just get on base, because that's what he does, man. He was getting on base just shy of 40% last year, and having that at the top of your lineup, beautiful. I love it, especially considering right behind him would be Anthony Santander. This is why this acquisition is so huge for the Toronto Blue Jays, because finally Guerrero has some protection again. Throwback to the days when we had Teoscar Hernandez there and, protecting Vladdy, everything like that. I mean, we need it again. And now we finally do with Santander. 44 home runs last year. That is nothing to scoff at. And I'm perfectly comfortable with this guy batting third, especially because he is primarily going to be acting as a left-handed batter. Last year, Anthony Santander, he's a switch hitter, mind you, right? So keep that in mind. So he can bat on either side. But last year, he had 485 plate appearances as a lefty. He had an OPS of 822. Having Guerrero as your righty, followed behind by what is primarily going to be your lefty or, switch hitter, and Anthony Santander, all of that makes perfect sense to me. And honestly, if Bo Bichette can have that bounce back, like we know that he's capable of, that top 3, that's scary. You got contact, you got power, you got on base prowess, right? Just across the board, you got clutch in all of those guys. If Bo Bichette can get back to being himself, that is a top 3 that if I'm a pitcher, I don't want to deal with. And ultimately, that is why I have them where I have them. Batting 4th, we have Mr. George Springer. I know it's not his conventional leadoff spot or anything like that, but I just don't see Springer as that guy anymore. You're talking about a 35-year-old who hit 220 last year. And, it's okay to hit 220 at the leadoff spot if you're Kyle Schwarber and you're also giving, 50-odd home runs, but That's just not the case anymore for Mr. George Springer. He had 19 last year, and ultimately, I just don't really see him being the leadoff guy for the future in Toronto. All that being said, though, because of his contract, because of his name value, because this organization does, live and die by George Springer, right? Like John Schneider comes out all the time and talks about how he loves George and his effort, and Ross feels the same way. I don't think that they bump him down too much. I think that they're going to put him fourth, right in the heart of that order. Give him a chance at an RBI or two, right? Maybe that's the type of player that he can develop into as he ages with the Toronto Blue Jays, right? Give me somebody who can bat Vladdy in. That is certainly in George Springer's, capabilities. Obviously, time will tell, and we're going to have to see how he progresses as the season goes on. But I think to start, they're going to put him in a position that matters, and that is going to be the cleanup spot down there at 4. Behind him, this is where we have Dalton Varsho. Now, I was kind of flipping back and forth between George Springer and Dalton Varsho, whether they're 4, they're 5, whatever. Honestly, Adam talked to me about this, because I ran the lineup by him. He argued as to why Dalton Varsho should be 5th instead of 4th, and I do agree with him, right? It's just, honestly, John Schneider loves his lefty-righties. And if Anthony Santander is primarily going to be acting as a lefty, then you got George Springer, your righty, and then you got that sandwich with Dalton Varsho down there as the lefty. And I think it makes sense, man. I mean, Dalton Varsho, I know that he is not the offensive player that we all hoped he would become when we traded for him from Arizona, but there's still upside there. They have shown a tendency to put him in the middle of the lineup, even when he's not playing well, just because of that lefty. And I think that you're going to see that right there, being the veteran and everything like that. I do think that he's still going to earn himself a spot in the middle of the order. Obviously, health is going to be a factor. So if he's not in there on opening day, then I would imagine it's probably because he is still injured. But assuming he's healthy, give me Dalton Varsho batting 5 behind George Springer. Behind him, give me Mr. Will Wagner. Shout out, by the way, to Will Wagner's father. Just made it into the Hall of Fame. Very cool video, very emotional video. Highly recommend that you guys go watch that. But if Willie Wagner continues what it was that he was doing in the 82 at-bats we saw him last year, he might be following in his father's footsteps, because the guy popped off. 305 batting average. He had an OPS of 788, as a rookie, and I know it's a shortened sample size, but still phenomenal. And when I think about the other options right now, by the way, I have him at the DH position. I'm going to have a whole graphic pop up at the end of this showing you guys exactly everyone's position, so stay tuned for that if you're wondering or not sure right now. Will Wagner, I have him at the DH position. The other alternatives, they're not that good. You go over to Fangraphs right here, and it's they got Leo Jimenez. All right, maybe. Davis Schneider. I don't know about that one, Chief. Miles Straw. I just think that based off of last year, I'm choosing Will Wagner over all of those guys. Now, maybe something in spring training will develop where, Davis Schneider's, back to his old self and hitting home runs at will. And maybe Davis Schneider starts the year off at the DH position batting 6, maybe, right? But just going off of what we saw last season, I think Will Wagner is going to be in there. I think he earned this spot for him. I know it was a small sample size, and, you never know how these things are going to develop, but hopes are high, and I want to see him there batting right behind Mr. Dalton Varsho. Behind him, give me Andres Jimenez. Give me Andres Jimenez down there in that 7th spot, all right? Now, Jimenez, offensively speaking, it was rocky last year. It was rocky to say the least. But the one thing that you can say that he has in his kit that he's bringing to the Toronto Blue Jays that we didn't have previously was the stolen bases. And I think that that's honestly something that I would love to see from him down there in that 7th spot. If let's say the first 2 innings go by, we don't get a single base runner on, or it goes 6 up, 6 down, right? Well, I want Andres Jimenez, and I want the bottom of that lineup to manufacture some runs. If Jimenez gets on, let's steal a bag. Let's give Kirk an opportunity. Spoiler alert, I have him batting 8th in this lineup. But that's where I see Jimenez at least starting with the Toronto Blue Jays. I know that there was, some rumblings or, some people arguing as to why he might become the leadoff guy for the Blue Jays, because in his past, he's been really good with the on base and everything like that. I don't see them starting with that. Maybe, you know, if the season progresses and Jimenez is back to his 2022 self where he was going crazy and, you know, Bo Bichette isn't doing so good, maybe that happens. But at least to start, I think that they're going to put him down there in that 7th spot, bottom of the lineup. Obviously, he's going to be in there every single day because of that defense, but give me Andres Jimenez in the 7th spot opening day. Behind him, I told you it was going to be Alejandro Kirk. There he is. Give me the captain. Kirky's got his work cut out for him this year, man. I mean, this is going to be the first time in several years where the Toronto Blue Jays aren't really doing the whole catcher by committee thing. You know, like we have a locked in number 1, and it is Alejandro Kirk. Now, you're still going to see other guys, right? You're still going to see, you know, Heineman and, you know, various others and everything like that. But Kirk's going to get the majority of the workload right here. And on opening day especially, I anticipate that he's going to be that guy. I think that, you know, there is going to be a bounce back from him, offensively speaking. But at least to start, they're going to put him, you know, lower in the lineup. I'm thinking it's going to be number 8, and I think that's fine for captain until, of course, he proves otherwise. Finally, rounding things out, we got Mr. Ernie Clement. Great year. Great little breakout year there from Ernie Clement at the third base bag, which is where I have him slotting in here at that 9 spot down there. I mean, Ernie Clement, 3.4 WAR. Nothing to scoff at there, guys, and batted .263. So could he set the table again for, you know, Bo Bichette coming back up to lead things off, right? Can he set the table for some of those big hitters up there at the top of the lineup? I think so. And I think that it's nice to have somebody down there that, you know, can run the bases well, which he can. 12 stolen bags last year, can get on base, hits for contact. I like all of that down there at the 9 spot. So, whoa, time for a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video. Hit your picks and knock it out of the park with Betway. Scan the QR code down below to join the action. Only available in Ontario. Must be 19 years of older to participate. Please play responsibly. Now, everyone, back to the content. This is what we have. This is my projected opening day lineup, assuming nothing changes. That means no new acquisitions. Obviously, if Pete Alonso comes in, things change. But I got Bo Bichette leading off, playing shortstop. I got Vladdy over there, you know, batting second at first base. Santander, Springer, Varsho, all the outfielders there, 3, 4, 5. Willie Wagner at the DH spot. Jimenez, number 7, second base. Kirky, the catcher, at 8. And then Ernie Clement over there, down at the 9 spot, playing third. That is how I think things are going to shake up. And honestly, it's not that bad. Like, it's not, you know, LA Dodgers level or anything like that, but it's not that bad. And I think it is an upgrade over what we saw last season. I mean, last year, the Toronto Blue Jays, they were ranked 17th in OPS, and that was one of their better categories too, because they had some other categories there, you know, runners in scoring position and, you know, just overall stuff where they were not very good at all. But I mean, with the addition of Santander, like, the lineup's not terrible. You know, I like the top 3. I believe in the Bichette bounce back. I believe in Guerrero. I believe in Santander. So those guys, I'm like, okay, they're locked in, they're ready to go. And then, you know, you're looking at the bottom 6 here and you're going, okay, can we get 1 or 2 breakouts from 1 or 2 of these guys? Can Alejandro Kirk get back to being the all-star he was a couple of years ago? Can Will Wagner continue off of what he did? Can Jimenez get back to being that all-star? Springer, what, you know, can we get anything out of George Springer? I think that there is something to get behind here. I'm not gonna tell you guys that, you know, that this is a World Series caliber lineup or anything like that, but it's better. It is certainly better than what it was, and I think that, you know, with the team where it is right now, we have a chance. We have a chance. That's all I'm going to say. We have a chance against some of those other American League teams. If we did, however, go out and pick up Pete Alonso, we're all the way back, guys. We are all the way back, because you know, you can just move everybody else down, right? Alonso 4, and then everybody else falls in. Like, we're all the way back if that happens. But as of right now, today, I'm starting to get back on the train. But you guys let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Please hit that like button, smash the subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. And as always, go Jays, go.